Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy. We are so excited about our guest today. We have Miss Joni Pilgrim with us, who had started an amazing company 20 years ago in her garage that has turned into a multi-million-dollar appraisal system that my husband happens to even be employed by. So we are so excited, Joni, to have you here today. And I'm going to get out of the way and just let you tell your story. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. What a pleasure. Excited to be here.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. So here's what I want you to do. People only listen to podcasts that they're interested in. So you have about 30 seconds to capture our audience's attention. Tell us your story in a way that might make people want to continue being a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of happened into the mortgage industry in the appraisal realm, was working at Longhorn Steakhouse, went to school at the University of Central Florida, go Knights, and majored in business with a minor in hospitality and thought I wanted to own a restaurant one day. And then I started managing a restaurant and quickly realized that is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And all of my hospitality people can probably attest to that. It is a grind, but definitely boot camp for management 101 and customer service. That is definitely where I cut my teeth on customer service, and it is in my blood. I think that's kind of why I gravitated towards that industry. But once I decided that really wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, I quit without a landing place. I was young. So it's not like I had a whole bunch of responsibilities at that point in time, but I answered an ad in the newspaper in the classifieds. I'm aging myself right now.
That's okay. I'm right there with you.
People use the classifieds, and there was an appraiser who was looking for a sales associate. And I didn't know much about real estate or mortgages. Nobody in my family has worked in this industry. It's typically a family industry, especially on the appraiser side of things. And so I wanted to learn more. Went to do the interview. It was an open cattle call interview at Perkins restaurant.
Did you get a roll? Did you get a yeast roll while you were there?
Sip on water. And that was about it. I walked into this restaurant thinking this is really unconventional. What do I even expect here? And I'm not even kidding you, in the waiting room, like how you have like the foyer in the restaurant with the host stand and everything, there was probably 60 people there with resumes in hand. Not kidding.
Oh gosh.
And I'm sitting here like, there's no way. I have no experience at all. This is not happening. Basically, I got 5 minutes with this appraiser who was like, tell me why I should hire you. And I'm like, I can sell. I know customer service. I'm eager to learn something new. Please hire me, like begging for this job. Didn't hear back from him for a week. Called him. Said, hey, are you still looking for somebody to take on the sales role? I'm really interested. He's like, oh, what's your name? Hey, Joni. He's like, oh, Joni, good. Yeah, you're in the yes pile, but so is 20 other people. Let me call you back soon.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And I'm sitting here waiting. I need to get a job now, right? Yeah. So time's ticking. I didn't hear back from him for another week. Called him back, said, hey, not sure if you chose anybody for the job, but I'm still really interested. I think I'd be a great candidate for this. Give me a shot. I promise I'll make you proud. Hire me. Take a chance. So he's like, you know what? Love the persistence. It's really down to you and one other candidate. I can't really choose between the both of you. So I'm going to hire you both and basically train you both, and survival of the fittest, right? May the best candidate win. And I'm like, okay, great. I have no idea I have no idea what I'm doing. This is not going to go well. So he's like, show up at my house at 9:00 on Monday, wear a suit. We're going to hit the ground running. And I'm like, oh gosh, his house. Like, this is weird. I didn't realize appraisers worked from home. Again, no experience at all, but I was like, what it is. I show up, he answers the door in a suit. Sure enough, he's got a whole office set up in there. I meet the office administrator, and he introduces me to the other person that he hired. And that person ended up being Carrie, who is my business partner to this day, 20 years later.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously, we hit it off.
Well, and I have to press pause for a second because I want to hear the whole story, and we're going to get there. But you just exemplified tenacity at its finest. Mm-hmm. Like, the number one thing I see when we interview people for jobs is they don't ask for the job. They don't say, I really want to do this. And that's what you did. You showed that you really wanted to be a part of things. And that seems to be the type of personality trait that has driven you all the way through 20 successful years of business, which is really impressive. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So you and Carrie totally hit it off. And you said, we could do this. Like, what happened next?
Yeah. That industry, we worked for the appraiser for about a year. And within that year, we learned everything, what to do, what not to do. We picked it up fast. We really fell in love with the appraisal side of the business. And right about that time, technology was starting to make a play. The bar was continuing to raise from a customer service standpoint. And he really wasn't ready to step into that next part of the business. Didn't really think technology was going to take off, wasn't really wanting to invest in that. And I just looked at her at one point and I was like, we can do this on our own. Wow. What do you think? And she's like, you think? Like, absolutely. We got this. We know it. We're smart. We've made connections in the industry. Let's try. Let's just go out there and try. And so on our lunch break the next day, we went out and opened up a bank account with Bank of America. They're like, okay, what do you need? We're like, well, we need a business account. They're like, what's your plan? We're like, well, we don't really know. They're like,
thing. We don't know.
We're going to do this thing. And they're like, okay, well, we were babies. She was 22 at the time. I was 24 at the time. And they were like, okay, you have no credit. You have no assets. You have nothing. We need a check from both of you. So we both wrote a $50 check, deposited in the account. They gave us a credit card for $500 limit on it. And they were like, good luck, ladies.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, okay, so we need an office space. And that's where she's like, let's set up in my garage. And we bought 2 handheld phones, a fax printer, copier combo machine. I brought my computer. She had her computer. And we just started dialing for dollars. And we just had plans to manage appraisals in the state of Florida. And it expanded from there. We knew we needed like a large account to really give us credibility. And we kept calling. Back then it was LendingTree. LendingTree was the big fish out there. And we kept calling. They would not give us the time of day. And then finally we walked into the garage one morning and there's papers everywhere because orders used to come by fax back then.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's papers everywhere. And it was orders from this company, LendingTree, that came over overnight because they're out in California. And we were like, oh my gosh, we got 11 orders overnight. And that was just like, for us, that's all we needed. And it took off. And they loved our business model so much. They're the ones that actually said, hey, you guys should expand out to other states and really do this thing on a national level. And within 2 years, we were national.
Joni, that is crazy. What a great story. Right. I'm going to guess you learned a couple things in there. Let's pause long enough to explain what appraisals are, because although I am mortgage adjacent, I would say, because my husband is in the industry, it takes a little while for us to explain what he does, right? So he's one of your regional sales manager, senior regional sales manager for appraisals, and people are like, what are you selling? What does that mean? So can you give the listeners a little more information about what do you mean when you say appraisals?
Yes, absolutely. And I have to explain this to my kids all the time because they still are like, so
you answer the phone, Mom? What do you do?
Yeah, like what actually happens here? So for NAN is an appraisal management company. NAN stands for Nationwide Appraisal Network. We have a panel of about 14,000 appraisers that we work with throughout the country. So we engage with them. So basically, if a borrower is looking to refinance their home, or if they're looking to purchase a home, they're going to take a loan out to do that. The lender is going to order an appraisal to determine the home's value. So typically we'll get that order from the lender, and then we'll engage one of our appraisers in that particular market, and we'll manage the whole process from beginning to end, receive the final appraisal product, which is the report that has the value on it. We'll do a quality control check on that, make sure everything's all I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and it's a good quality appraisal that the lender can make a lending decision on. We deliver that to the lender, and we just kind of keep everybody in the loop as far as communication goes. We manage the panel of appraisers, making sure that their licenses are up to date, background checks, things like that. So we really are kind of like that middle segment of between the lender and the appraiser in any given market. So from a national standpoint, it's very convenient for lenders to work with AMCs that truly understand customer service, quality, performance, turn times, managing a panel that large, communication, everything. And from a compliance standpoint, compliance and regulatory, we manage that as well, just making sure that everybody's doing what they need to be doing with regards to regulatory oversight, communication, security and privacy information, things like that.
Wow. So I'm curious, the guy that didn't think technology was going to take off, bless his sweet little heart, does he know what you do now? Like, have you kept in touch with him at all?
He actually called us unknowingly asking to join our panel of appraisers. And
Classic.
I was like, hey, do you know who I am? And he's like, oh my gosh, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. And he's like, do you still keep in touch with Carrie? And I'm like, yeah,
for sure. Daily, actually, every single day.
Yeah. He ended up exiting the business, though. I think it's tough if you don't keep up from that standpoint. The industry's ever evolving and the demands are there. And every year the bar raises. And if you're not there trying to meet it or exceed it, you will get left behind. That is a real thing. I have seen it happen. And it's tough to keep up. It really is. It takes a team. And I am just beyond blessed to have the team that I work with. These people, I say I work with the most talented people in the industry, and they bring it every single day, passion and joy. And NAN doesn't belong to me anymore like it did back 20 years ago when it was just Carrie and I sitting in the garage. It belongs to them.
And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how you did that, because you went from the 2 of you to 5 of you to 10 of you to 20 of you. How many employees do you have now?
90.
90. So 90 people are employed because you had a dream and you decided that you wanted to make that dream a reality, and you did the 90-hour work weeks and the really hard and the stuff, right? And the fax collections. So what do you currently do that makes your employees want to keep coming back to work? Because whoever's listening to this right now could be in any industry USA. And yet, I'm going to guess you do some things that they could certainly do, not just needing to be in the mortgage industry to do it.
Oh, yeah. I think one of the biggest things for me is leading with passion. I am a very passionate person. And when I believe in something, you will believe in it. That's kind of how I communicate and how I lead. It's full transparency across the board, tons of communicating the vision every single day at every meeting with as many people as I possibly can, so that at some point, if you ask a member on the team, what's the vision, what's the mission, they're going to know. But, I think that when you lead with passion and it shows, people will follow you to the ends of the earth. And that is true. We've all had different leadership folks in our lives, mentors, bosses that we've gravitated towards or that we just couldn't figure out a connection with.
Right.
And I think that when you find a leader that's passionate, like I know I gravitate towards that. I need to work with somebody who believes in what they do.
Yeah.
And if you believe in what you do, you will have that group of people that are rah-rahing right alongside of you. And when you're tired and you can't do it that day, they will pick right up and move forward for you. No questions asked. And that's such a beautiful thing. I remember I have like a vivid memory of a meeting a couple of years ago where myself and, my team, we were on this meeting, and I was really intended to run the meeting, but I didn't speak maybe 2 words. I think I set the meeting up and was like, okay, guys, purpose of the meeting today, blah, 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 blah. And they took over. And I just sat back and I was like, I'm not needed here. These guys, they know the mission and they are so clear and so passionate and they're doing all the right things. It's like, wow, that to cultivate a team of talented people who are passionate about this company the way that I am, for me, that's the definition of success. Like, we have succeeded. It's not how many people we have employed. It's not how much revenue we do in a year. It's not how many years we've been in business. It's that core thing, because that core thing is what's going to continue to carry us in the long term. So
most definitely. And I do think, living it on the other side, I do think that you have done exactly that. You have created a place where people want to work. It doesn't mean it's free of problems. No business is free of problems. No. But I think what I have seen is that you are solutions based. And you are keeping the vision in mind. And by doing that, people know what their target is. And you can hit a target you can see. You can't hit a target that you can't see. So this podcast is called Productive Joy. And I like to ask my guests, when you hear productive joy, what comes to mind? What would be your definition of productive joy?
I think it's when you're doing your day-to-day, when you're in your day-to-day stuff, whether it's personally, professionally, and you are content and you still find that you love doing what you do, I think that you've hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Because I know I can get so wrapped up in work and making myself busy. And sometimes, and a bad habit that I used to have was just like busy for no reason, just to be busy. And everybody has to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, it's like, okay, I got to make the moment count. But it's when you're in your day-to-day life, are you content? Are you finding happiness in that? Are you still feeling fulfilled at the end of the day? And if you can look back and go, yes, I love what I do, I am really happy doing what I'm doing, then great, perfect, keep going, you know?
Well, and I think that's the definition of productive, right? Different from just busy. I had a friend tell me recently, I'm switching out the word busy with productive. I'm like, yes, I love that. So when somebody says, oh, I'm so busy, no, I'm so productive. And yet I don't know that's always true, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we're spinning our wheels doing busy things that we actually could outsource, could take off our plate completely, could stop doing, and instead focus on what will make me productive, what will advance my organization, what will take us to the next level. So I think you're leveling up, boss babe. That's what's happening there.
Thank you. I hope so. Gosh.
Well, you know, oh yeah, go ahead.
No. Oh, I was going to say, I learned something probably within the last year or so that, because we all have like our running to-do list, right?
Yeah.
And we come to it, like, I know I start, like, I do it the night before for the next day or the week before for the following week. Because I want to jump in that day and start it, not write the list in the morning.
Smart.
But if something stays on my to-do list for too long, like if I can't clear it and get it moving forward, I realize that it doesn't belong with me and it belongs with somebody else on my team who has that skill set and that strength. I'm like, why am I holding on to this? So-and-so is so much better than this. And I set up a meeting. I'm like, hey, do you want to take on this project? Yeah, absolutely. I have 5 ideas. Great. Because I couldn't figure out what the next move was. And I think that's something people can walk away with something. It's like, embrace the talents on your team. Don't think you have to take it all on. If you're sitting with it for too long, it probably doesn't belong with you.
Oh, you know, that's such powerful advice. Such powerful advice, because we aren't all wired the same way. And if your entire team thinks like you do, then you're going to miss an entire portion of your audience every time. So I love the talents of your team and that you're being thoughtful about that. I think there's so much power in that. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
And so I started to ask you, and now I will continue to ask you. So maintaining the passion and finding the purpose behind your work and being productive, you've decided to take that outside of your 4 walls within NAN and do something for the entire state. Tell us more about this whole cool women's thing that you're doing.
Oh, Rise Women in Mortgage. I'm so proud of this initiative. This is an initiative that we started within the Florida Association of Mortgage Professionals. It is a group of women that we've put together, and it's membership based. And the purpose is to lead and influence the industry through empowerment and intentional opportunities for women. So we're just coming up to our 1-year anniversary. I got introduced to the amazing Linda Knowlton in our industry. She is an inspiration to women in mortgage in Florida. And her and I connected, I'd say last February, and we started talking about what if we carve out this group within the Florida Association of Mortgage Professionals that exists to unite and engage women across multi-generational lines, right? All ages, all stages of where you are at in your career, whether you're just starting in the mortgage industry or maybe you've been in the mortgage industry for the last 30 years. Since we started, we have 50 active members, and our goal this year is 100 members by the end of August. And we recently launched a mentorship program that I'm really proud of, where we're connecting experienced women in the industry with maybe women who are just starting out in a particular role or in the industry in and of itself. And we are hosting our first in-person one-day conference in April. And so many exciting things. We host monthly meetings where we have lead and learns, and we have professional women come in and give tips and tricks on business and empowerment and leadership and everything that you could possibly think of. We want women to get as much out of this group as they possibly can, both personally and professionally, just developing, growing, networking, having fun. And so it's awesome. I'm just so proud of it, so proud to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see what it looks like 5-10 years from now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, because you know that with hard work comes the reward, right? You watched it happen with your own industry and now you're seeing, or your own organization. And now you're seeing the beginning stages of something great. And I'm a big fan of girl power, right?
Yes.
Like we have to support one another and give each other the tools that we need to be successful, right? You have to have both the skills and the habits to be successful. And if you don't have both, then where do you find it? And this sounds like the kind of place that women can find some of those skills that maybe they don't already have. Especially the other people, right? Like the connections to other people. That's huge.
That's what I was going to say. The connection in and of itself, to have this group behind you or to reach out to at any moment, we can tap into the talent within this group. If I need advice on underwriting, processing, sales, leadership, whatever, it's in this group. It's all encompassing. And I just love it. And I can't wait to see everybody in person because we do all of our monthly meetings are virtual. And I just want to like meet these women and say, oh my gosh, hi, face to the name. And so nice to meet you and give a hug or a handshake.
And, oh, you're really
I'm
tall.
A hugger. I'm a hugger.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the biggest thing. When we're always virtual, like, wow, you're super tall. Or, oh, I'm shorter than I thought you'd be. It's true. It's absolutely
so it should be
true.
fun.
I love it.
It should be fun.
Well, and what's cool about you, there are lots of things that are cool about you, Joni, but what's cool about you is that you are a see a need, fill a need kind of person, right? I don't know if you remember the movie Robots from way back. I'm dating myself on that too, but Rodney Copperbottom said that all the time, right? I see a need, I fill a need. And what you've done within the appraisal industry is that you recognize there needs to be a management system. There needs to be a way that people can get the right appraisers. And then you transferred that to this women in leadership and said, okay, I'm going to look at ways that we can fill this need. All these women are out there, but let's put them together. And you found the right people to do that. And then something else that you do that is pretty amazing is that you take care of the students in your community as well. So tell us a little bit about the really great way that you're spending all that extra time and energy that I am sure you couldn't be spending anywhere else. Tell us about Backpacks.
Yes. This is near and dear to my heart. So Backpacks for Kids started this nonprofit back in 2013 with a mission to help kiddos in need start the school off on the right foot by providing them backpacks filled with all the school supplies that they would need for the year. And since 2013, we have supported about 30 Title I schools in Pinellas County. And it brings me so much joy. We get to work with the staff and the faculty at these Title I schools. So Title I schools are schools where the families that attend are at or below poverty level from a family income standpoint. So we hear from the teachers and we hear from the faculty and the staff members, our biggest need is school supplies. Sometimes we can't even get a lesson started because we have to get, the school supplies into the hands of these kids. So whatever we can do, if we can bring these backpacks and school supplies, and sometimes we just bring droves of paper, pens, and pencils. What do you guys need? We're here to support you. The truck's coming. And tears, that we get just by the simple delivery of it. I'm like, man, I want to do more. I want to expand it. I want to tackle this thing, but it has been such a joy to be able to help in that way because this is our future. You know what I mean? And I don't know if these kids will remember it because we don't really see the students. We see the faculty and staff. We try to do like an incognito drop off before the school year starts because we just want them to get the school supplies. You know what I mean? It's just start the school off on the same level playing field. Everybody's got what they need. Now go learn, go be kiddos.
Well, our daughter's a kindergarten teacher, and so she knows exactly the impact that something like that has on kids. And they do remember. I have friends who have talked about, I got this backpack. I didn't think I was going to have what I needed to start school, and now it appeared. And that's all they need to know is that somebody out there was taking care of
kindness.
Yeah. So if somebody listening wanted to be a part of the Backpacks for Kids, what would they do? How would they get in touch with you to be able to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Emailing me. We have a page on our NAN website that you can visit that will bring you right to the Backpacks for Kids organization. It has ways to donate either supplies or funds. We typically will gather all the supplies and do all the drop-offs, like I said, the week before school starts in the summer, right before that fall start date. And we accept donations from community partners all over the state, local churches, other organizations, just anybody who wants to take the opportunity to give back. And we do a nice school supply drive within NAN as well. And the team always is so grateful to have the opportunity to have an outlet to give back. They're like, man, I've always wanted to do something like this in the community, and I've never really known what to do. And I'm so glad that we do this because I love participating. So I think that kind of like revs the engine a little bit too. And like, it's inspiring and it gets you motivated to like, okay, what's next? What else can I do? So
I love it. Okay.
Yeah,
so the NAN,
we'll take it.
The NAN website. Tell us what the NAN website is, and we'll put it in the show notes too. But what's the actual website?
Yep. It's www.nan-amc for Appraisal Management Company.com. So
NAN. So NAN. Yep. Love it.
-amc.com.
And then you mentioned email. They can find your email on that website as well?
Yes. But just in case, it's jpilgrim@nan-amc.com.
And that's a dash, not an underscore.
Dash. That's a dash. Yep. Got it. Okay. Good. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes, I have been a part of that conversation more than once when I'm sitting in the passenger seat and Jason's saying his email address out loud. So yes, I totally know. So I have a couple fun questions for you to kind of wrap up our time together. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So first question, what is your definition of fun?
Okay. So it's a lot different than it was 20 years ago.
Amen. Yes.
Now in my mid 40s, but in all honesty, at this stage of my life, I find fun in simplicity, going for a bike ride, reading a good book, going to the beach and watching the sunset, learning new things. I love learning new things. I just recently joined the pickleball craze. So.
Oh my gosh, pickleball. That's serious.
Yes.
I actually developed tennis elbow learning to play pickleball because I thought I was supposed to hit the ball as hard as humanly possible like a tennis racket. And that's really not how pickleball works.
No. So I'm learning that. I can't believe you got tennis elbow. Oh,
I did. Goodness. It was embarrassing, but whatever.
You were going after it.
I thought I was supposed to whack the snot out of that little wiffle ball. Like I really legitimately
came to win.
That was my job. Took it seriously too.
Yeah, I obviously cooking a good meal, taking my dog for a walk. Like I look forward to the end of the day when I can still beat the sunset and take my dog for a walk because she just loves it. And those are things. They're simple things, but they bring me peace.
Yeah,
and I crave the quieter moments and the peaceful moments at this stage. Whether even if it's like with my family or just by myself. We've all chilled out. I think COVID did that too.
It had
an impact. I was like, hey, it's okay to be home. Let's make home our sanctuary.
And as a mom of littles, like you also have to recognize, okay, I need a minute. This is for me, not for us. Like I love you. However, I'm going to be over here for just a minute, right?
Mom needs a timeout.
Yeah, yeah, that was actually my favorite wine at one point in life. It was called Mommy's Timeout. I'm like, yes, that's accurate. Okay. Second question. How do you channel your best self on your worst days?
We all have them, right? We are not super women, but this is such a good question because I think this really tells a lot. Experience has taught me to what I call practice the pause, which means don't react or act right away to something that is causing tension or negative feelings. Take a minute, step back, walk away, maybe do something creative, then come back to it, like clear your mind. I always find that my mindset changes with a little break in between what it is and where I need to be. So I'm able to tackle the issues with a clear mind. I'm reasonable. I'm ready for a challenge versus my mindset that's overwhelmed or frustrated in the moment. So I feel like that trick has really helped me to kind of tap into that best version of me, especially when I'm trying to tackle a difficult situation.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's really good advice. Okay. Last but not least, What do you hope people will remember from this podcast? What's the one thing that you want people to walk away with today?
Oh, I think that your goal in doing anything should always be progress and not perfection. There's never going to be a perfect moment. There's never going to be a perfect time to start something, to end something. Whatever journey you're in is never going to be perfect. It's always about progress. So as long as you see yourself moving forward or a situation moving forward or improving, those are the moments that you celebrate, and never, ever wait for that perfection moment because it's not coming.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of it all, right? Because if everybody was perfect all the time, it would be an impossible world to live in. So just embrace that and know that progress is the right direction.
Yeah.
Not the wrong direction.
And when you walk in and there are 11 orders on the floor from the fax machine, you can say, oh my gosh, and you celebrate that moment. Now, you do thousands of orders a month, and yeah, definitely has shifted. So Joni, thank you so much for being willing to spend a little time with us today. And for our listeners, thank you so much for being here. I hope that this has given you just a little bit of productive joy to transform your day. So hope everybody has a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.